Hi guys, welcome along to Off Script Extra Time with myself, Robbie Greenfield, my co-host Chris McCarty, and we're discussing a question that has got the whole world of football talking today, namely, and I'll dive straight into it guys, Chris, I know you feel passionately about this subject, 10 points after 7 games, 3 defeats, a shocking start to the season, acrimony and rancour among the players, among the backroom staff, a wave, a shroud of negativity around the club. I will simply ask you, should Manchester United sack Jose Mourinho?
And I will simply answer, Robert, yes they should. It has been an absolute shocking start for Manchester United, as you rightly point out. Worst start to a league campaign in 29 years. You've mentioned it, the list runs deep. Jose Mourinho has lost that dressing room. We've been privy to certain conversations with individuals close to that football club. There's no doubt in my mind he's lost that dressing room. Paul Pogba is a divisive figure. As good a footballer as he is, he's not shown it yet, but he is a figure. He's got a lot of people behind Paul Pogba in that football club. We hear Anthony Martial, Andrea Pereira are all behind him. Jose Mourinho, the biggest indictment, one of the saddest indictments as well, he is no longer the manager that we saw come into English football back in 2004. He is no longer the special one. I read an article this past week that sums him up perfectly. He is the bitter one. There is huge issues at that football club, both on the field and off the field. Ultimately, the responsibility of performances on the football field land with a football manager. Jose Mourinho's a dead man walking.
Well, let's look at it tactically. Jose Mourinho has had such success throughout his career, and a lot of his apologists would point to that success as to say, hang on with him, hang in there, he can turn it around. But you look at what he did with Chelsea, you look at what he did with Inter Milan in particular, Porto of course, Real Madrid perhaps not so successful there, but why has he not been able to sort this out? Fundamentally at Manchester United, Jose Mourinho should have had success by now. Historically, when he's gone to a club, he brings success instantly. Then it backfires and he leaves in a blaze of glory. But why has he not been able to do that?
Well, two things. He has had success. Let us not dress this up to what it isn't. Jose Mourinho came in and won the Europa League, which was success. He won the League Cup. And okay, they're not the trophies that a club the stature of Manchester United should be targeting, but it is success. It is trophies. And I'll point out that a certain Jurgen Klopp, as much as of a fan of him as I am, he hasn't won anything yet at Liverpool. So there is success there for Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. It has unravelled. It is the 3rd season. History has shown that Jose Mourinho, for whatever manner that he works behind the scenes, in the 3rd season, things go awry, and they go awry quickly. He is increasingly looking isolated. Again, I'll go back to it. It's my understanding the coaching staff not that enamoured by Jose Mourinho. There are certain factions within that dressing room at Manchester United who have lost. He's lost them. They are no longer fighting for Jose Mourinho. Couple all of that together, the mixing and matching of certain players, still not getting results. It's 3 defeats, Robbie, in 7 games. Jose Mourinho is proving himself increasingly to be out of his depth at that football club. There is nothing that I've seen would suggest that he will turn it around in the long term, and he's got to go. And the only thing that I think is holding back the CEO Ed Woodward right now is perhaps a lack of options. I know Zinedine Zidane has been mentioned. He is out of a job after leading, of course, Real Madrid to 3 successive Champions League titles. Laurent Blanc, not mentioned by many, but does have ties as a former player to that football club. And Mauricio Pochettino, who would incidentally be my number 1 choice. The issue there is, does he leave Tottenham before they've moved into their new stadium? I don't think he does. So there are big decisions to be made at that football club in the next few days.
You mentioned Ed Woodward. We look at Manchester City as the club that are setting examples for the rest to follow with what they've done. The City Football Group, they've come in, they've implemented an ethos, a structure where Pep Guardiola is the cherry on top of the cake. He's the man that brings the genius, the kind of flair to the tactical nuances of the team. But Jose Mourinho and Manchester United in particular, you mentioned Ed Woodward, a commercial mastermind, no doubt about it. Manchester United are the richest club in the world football, but it's a house of cards, isn't it? Why have they not figured this out? After Alex Ferguson left in 2013, why have they not implemented a structure whereby it's not the manager just coming in and just ripping everything up and bringing in his own team?
You're right, and I think one of the things that will come out of Jose Mourinho's tenure is, it's my understanding that they are finally wisening up to that. You've said it yourself, Ed Woodward has proven himself commercially to have no peer in football. From a commercial standpoint, Manchester United are continuing continuing to trend in the right direction. On the field is the issue. There is no football man, that's what I would say, at the top of the Manchester United hierarchy. I do expect that to change. And if Jose Mourinho goes, and again, I will say I think it's inevitable, I think he will go sooner rather than later, a new manager coming in doesn't change things for me. They need to change things off the field. They need to put a footballing structure in place. A director of football, Edwin van der Sar, former Manchester United goalkeeper, sporting technical director over at Ajax, he has been mentioned amongst many others. He could come in there and implement a philosophy, because you said something vital there, Robbie. Pep Guardiola is the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. If he goes tomorrow, Manchester City will continue. They've got an ethos, they've got a structure at that football club that should lend itself to success. Obviously the head coach, the manager, is vital. Manchester United don't have that structure. Until they do, they will be stuck. They will be behind Liverpool. They will be behind Manchester City. From a footballing standpoint, we know the success they've had off the field commercially, but they've got to get that right. Changing the manager will help in the short term. In the long term, though, there's an awful lot more to be done.
Stay one step ahead with Dubai Eye.